Hello there. Well, this hasn't taken long, has it? This Labour government and its customer complaints expert, Rachel Reeves, are taking us to the brink of national bankruptcy, with UK borrowing costs at the highest since 1998. And the bond market is biting back and biting hard, forcing the Chancellor Rachel Reeves to the dispatch box today to explain herself to Parliament. And off she went again, talking about the need for the UK to go for growth. The only growth I foresee under her stewardship is a growth in debt, both national and personal, a growth of joblessness, and a growth of the number of those on benefits, as well as a growth in energy costs as we gum up our economy with the drive to nut zero. Oh, and a growth in the employer-crippling red tape that business has to comply with, all courtesy of the Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner, all leading to a crashing economy and a humbling trip to the International Monetary Fund and the New World Order. The economy is already slowing, and inflationary pressures are increasing, and mortgage lenders are starting to edge their rates up. And Labour's response is to add drag anchors to every corner of our economy. Their plans are not UK friendly. Who's advising these monumental clowns, you may ask? Answer: the WEF in Davos, the UN, and the similarly ideologically driven woke civil serpents. I also foresee a growth in the number of sacked ministers, and today we see the exit of anti-corruption minister Tulip Siddiq. Wonder what that was all about. Now, Keir Starmer and his Chancellor have a combination of choices: increase taxes and borrow more money, and spend, woohoo, so pulling the plug on the economy. Or deregulate, cut tax, so people can spend more of their own money into the economy and make massive cuts in the public sector. Which choice do you think will be made, and by whom? While hoping that whatever they do, the independent Bank of England will make the right interest rate choices. Firstly, increasing already high taxes will kill off whatever's left of the economy and drive good people away and drive the rest into the ground. And more borrowing will increase the costs and suck ever-increasing amounts of money out of the economy in interest payments. But saving the nation by deregulating, unwinding back on net zero to free up private enterprise will not be ideologically acceptable to the left, nor will cutting back on the public sector, as it means reducing the headcount. And cutting taxes will reduce the amount of money the state can spend. Shock, horror. And any talk of reducing foreign aid or not helping every waif and stray on the planet will be met with very stiff resistance from the establishment wokesters. Just like in the US, where Elon Musk has pinned this to his X profile in response to claims that 80% of Biden-supporting functionaries will fight Trump tooth and nail all the way. Massive federal bureaucracy, an unconstitutional fourth branch of government, will do everything possible to thwart the will of the people. And that's exactly what would happen to anyone who tries to get in the way of the civil service in the UK. As I bring Richard in, I will say that it's all looking pretty damn disastrous. So, Richard, what have you got to say?
Well, right. Who wants the doom and gloom version of events? And who wants the fluffy rainbows and vegan unicorns version? Go on. Yeah, me too. Never liked unicorn. So it now emerges that Rachel Reeves has refused to rule out an emergency budget. Oh, I wonder why. Student union socialist economics not working and producing growth, are they not? Oh, don't worry, our Rachel. They never have. In fact, they have an unusual side effect of destroying the economies of the countries that adopt them. Countries like Venezuela. Yes. So, what happens if the ruination of confidence in our economy by our beloved Chancellor has instigated a fire sale on gilts? Well, the cost of borrowing will skyrocket, just like it looks like it's about to. Oh dear. And that will mean all private and public sector pensions face collapse. And as a separate yet much linked issue, the cost of servicing mortgages look like they will go up, according to the FT, currently estimated at 700,000 households facing mortgage hikes when fixed rate deals end this year. So that will be a compounded pain upon the bond market sell-off for all. Anything else that could go wrong? Oh, yes, of course. Yes, when investors walk away from public debt purchasing, the entire public sector will collapse. NHS staff will go unpaid. Emergency services like the police, fire services, and the ambulances, they will all join the NHS in having no money. The civil service will have no money either. You know, talk about turkeys voting for Christmas because they seem to be behind Starmer and Rachel Reeves. Oh, and no benefits will be paid. And that will mean no money to keep our newly arrived guests staying in hotels across the country. But not to worry. Oh, don't you worry about them, because the state will make sure they are fine and dandy. And I will elaborate on that in a moment. Yes, banks will collapse due to their exposure to their bond portfolios, and private assets, including the family home, could even very well be seized by the state. Yes, that can happen, and probably will if Labour remain in charge, seeing as asset reacquisition, or acquisition possibly, is very much a favourite of theirs. And have no doubt, all second homes will be given to newcomers who currently stay in the aforementioned hotels. So no, this video is not clickbait. I know you're thinking. No, it's not, because the one thing that is supposed to remain solid and timeless is the bond market's faith in the UK economy. Remove that faith, and you remove everything built since the establishment of the United Kingdom as a union. And then there is the contagion of financial collapse that will engulf the entire world. After all, we are all interconnected in our globalist world. Yes, it won't be some mass invasion force or a dangerous pathogen that brings about the demise of Western civilization. No, it will be Rachel from accounts. Jeff, over to you.
Yes, exactly. Rachel from accounts, I think, has been put there specifically to do just this. Kooky Toots points out we can't even talk about sensitive topics in the pub. Now, this is the thing. When you go to the pub now, you won't be able to talk about the economy, because that will be wrong. That will be anti-British or something. So you won't be able to complain about the price of the pint as it goes up 10p or whatever, because that will be bad for the economy. You mustn't talk about these things. They don't want you talking in the pub, because you talk about sensible things in the pub, well, generally. So they don't want you talking in the pubs anymore, no. Anyway, as you were talking, I was sort of thinking back to the forcing the privatisation of the NHS, as far as I can see. I think that's what's going to come, because they won't be able to afford it any other way, will we? We'll have to cough up the tax to pay the debt off, and then pay for our private health service. You know what I mean? This is where we're going, and the benefits, they will probably be linked to your ability to pay, or whatever it's called, and you will probably find that even if you fall on hard times, you will not get them anymore. And although you've paid in for maybe 10, 20 years into the system, no one's going to be there to save you. And in the end, if it gets that bad, they're going to start being forced to raid bank accounts and pension pots. Well, they've already started with the pension pots, starting a couple of decades ago. But now, the way they can raid your bank account is by if it all falls apart, you just get banking shares instead of the money in your bank. Yeah, you get shares in the bank. Brilliant.
Great.
Now, there is another option for Rachel Reeves, and that is to print new money. Lots of it. But sterling at the moment is already being flushed by Reeves. So a stint of printing more or quantitative easing, QE, would just complete the task. Get the wheelbarrow out, time to cart your wallet about to get a loaf of bread. That's what it would amount to. So she could do that. But that would make the bond markets really flustered.
Well,
I think they're because that's how you pay the bonds on, the coupons on these things. You just print loads of money and pay out devalued money. So the bond market would collapse because of that anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, so you just, I was about to go into a whole spiel about how Rachel Reeves would be, Rachel from accounts would be about to deal with this situation, whether it will be a money printing or asset stripping or the good old IMF intervention, which, that would be another form of asset stripping, I suppose. The thing is, money printing, that's an interesting concept because we talk about quantitative easing, right? There's also something which the Americans had, which wasn't it qualitative easing, which is slightly different as well to quantitative easing.
When you do quantitative easing, you supposedly swap assets like gilts, which are high quality, supposedly, for printed money out of the vaults of the Bank of England. When you do qualitative easing, you just take any old rubbish. Just take anything and hand money out. So it's slightly different. Yeah.
Well, could this be the beginning of something like, I don't know, a universal basic income? They're just going to put everybody on that for now, possibly. I mean, AI's on. Is it a coincidence that the bond markets are getting a bit jittery at the same time that Keir Starmer's talking about artificial intelligence? The massive drive that Britain's going to have with artificial intelligence as a means possibly of running some kind of universal basic income. Don't think these things are outlandish. We saw what these people can do back in 2020. Yeah. We saw how far that this lot will go. And it's not just that. They're telling us, watch some of the World Economic Forum videos. They're saying, no, this is the direction we want you to go in. And we're going to have conspiracy theory. Listen to that King Charles there and that Prince Andrew and all the rest of them. And, not Prince Andrew, Prince William. And there they are telling us all that they're going to do all these things. And then they happen to come to pass. Conspiracy theorists.
Well, come on, press the button. It makes it work. Oh, it's not working suddenly.
Come on, Jeff, what are you doing there?
I'm pressing a button. There we go.
Don't do that.
Frank Ebsworth. Remember the Muppet Show, the two in the balcony? Do you remember those two in the Muppet Show? The two in the balcony, the two old gents? Yeah. Their names were Waldorf and Statler. Did you know that? Waldorf and Statler. They used to keep throwing jibes at Kermit the Frog. The Labour Party is Kermit the Frog, and we are throwing loads of jibes at him. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So I just thought I'd... And thank you very much, Marvin G. Boy, y'all too are just a ray of sunshine. Actually, this was meant to be a doom and gloom show this afternoon. What's happened here?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, what I'm going to say is that 2025 has the potential to become the year of discontent, because this government, I don't think, will do what is really required to get the economy moving. In fact, 2025 will more likely be the year of national ruination. And no amount, Richard, of getting AI to mend potholes will do anything to change that. And while that goes on, our borders remain wide open. And this government looks set to decolonize around the globe by filtering out, or frittering, should I say, our money away. Think the Chagos Islands. Basically, the UK economy is entering the intensive care unit, needing a large injection of fresh blood.
Yep.
But all we see is a uniparty establishment government intent on applying as many leeches as it can to what is fast becoming an economic corpse. And that's my view. I think they're just giving it the last rites. But there you go.
Yes, Jenny Murphy, they want pubs gone. Yes. I mean, I can't afford to go to one. I mean, I did go the other day with my good lady, but in general, a pub is something you go to, once a month if you're lucky. And going back on the carnivore diet, there'll be no drinking for me.
Yes. Yeah, someone says UKIP's Nick Tanconi is the way ahead.
Yeah.
Streets become dangerous with no welfare state. This is a good point. You could make the same argument about the drug trade, couldn't you? Without that, we'll have lots of violent people around. But if they've got a trade and earning money via that, then at least they'll, keep themselves to themselves.
Well, I'm not so sure about that one, Jeff. I mean, at the end of the day, as I've said before, there's one way to sort that the vile drug trade out, and that is as done in the witness experiment. And I suggest everyone goes and looks at that. I'm not going to go.
Yes, but what happens is that the people that made money out of it previously don't then just go and become, I don't know, a newspaper shopkeeper. They don't go and train how to be a butcher, although some of them might be very good at it. You get the idea. But no, they turn to other crimes.
Yeah, they become Labour councillors.
Yes, they become Labour councillors. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I know it's just, there you go. What am I doing? Where am I going? Yeah, they started with the vulnerable, just to see if they could get away with it all, if they can do that to the vulnerable. The good thing is, everybody, Richard Bergen, I don't know whether you know this, he came out, was either yesterday or this morning, and said, what we need to do is tax the rich to oblivion, and basically, what he doesn't realise that when the rich get taxed, they soon move. And the further down the food chain you get as people move their money or move themselves or hide their money or whatever, is you keep, in the end, the only people you can tax are the vulnerable, are the people who have to work in the pay-as-you-earn economy and have nothing else. And they're the only people left to tax. You have to tax them into the ground as well to maintain your dreams, your big dreams of this socialist, nirvana, this big utopia. It's not going to work. People need to be left on their own to run their lives within a framework of laws that protects people from violence and all the rest of it. But let us get on with our lives and spend our money how we want to. That's the most efficient way of making an economy run. Not for Labour, though. No, not for Labour.
Well, I think we've had this little conversation in private, Jeff, though, about what's going on. I mean, it's not just Labour. There is a sort of global sort of collapse taking place, and it all does seem a little too orchestrated to be by accident. I mean, unless people are genuinely that stupid, or are we watching a large pyramid scheme completely collapse? Literally a pyramid scheme, But I don't know. I think we're living in very strange times, ladies and gentlemen, and we should be very vigilant of what's going on and very aware of what's going on. So that's why we try and do these videos. But we're coming towards the end now, actually, I think, Jeff. And we're trying to do these live streams for a little shorter. We're trying to do them, quite a bit shorter, because a few of you said, you're just rambling on, you two are. And we thought, well, we try not to. But the thing is, we enjoy talking to you people. And when the conversation gets going, it's difficult to get off here. There we go. So, Jeff, over to you.
Well, the one thing I will point out, a lot of people say that the US, it's just a little parting shot, that the US is doing well, why can't we? And they're bigger than us and all that. But the US has one thing that we don't, and a lot of people will disagree with this. It's got a concept called hire at will. So what happens is someone comes into the workplace, you've got a gap, and you say, well, I like the look of you, give you a go. So They come in, you start paying them. If after a week they don't fit in, then you are quite at will just to sack them. So, and the thinking being that your company will benefit because you can get someone better, and that person will benefit because they'll go and find a better fit job for themselves. And that's but in this country, in the UK, it has become the employer's duty to pay everyone, however garbage they are at their job and however much they cost the company as a result. And I think we've gone too far down one route. And if we want to emulate the US in success, then we've got to deregulate and get back the power to the employer more than it is at the moment. It's turning on its head, and it's really quite silly.
But I mean, we need to get the power back to the individual as well, which is part of what you were saying as well there. And that should be the focus. We need, personally, I am a libertarian. I believe in a very small state. Stop interfering with us. We'll sort ourselves out. Thank you very much. That's my belief. And one of the problems you have when you have large state structures, incidentally, is that you have these large corporations which are able to grow and maintained by a corrupt judiciary, which is what I believe we do have here in the United Kingdom and in America, incidentally. The whole thing is set up to preserve and concentrate wealth. And that is, you might think, well, oh, you're sounding very socialist now. I'm thinking, no, it's actually like a form of fascism, that what's taking place, because these large corporations that are created are only sustained and nurtured when they are allowed to get away with things that you and I wouldn't be able to. That's more to the point. And there's a lot of backhanded deals that go on, and that's the trouble. You see, there's nothing wrong with free markets, etc. That's fine. It's all the other infrastructure you put in place. There's a lot of corruption going on in the background. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, corporate fascism. Sorry, Jason O'Brien, you got it there. Yeah, corporate fascism. That is a thing. Most of us just want free markets and libertarianism.
Well, everybody wants perfection, perfect communism, where people only put in everything they can, but only take out what they absolutely need, would be perfect, wouldn't it? If everybody thought like that. But so that ends up as crony communism, and capitalism, where you earn stuff and you do things correctly and you go by the capitalist market, that turns into crony capitalism, because we're all human and we have to look at that. Don't trust our government system is a crony government system. You only have to look at it for 5 minutes to tell that it needs a sweep out. We've got to that stage where it needs a sweep out and a reset, I think. But there you go. And on that note, because I've got something else to get up to in a while, I'll just say thanks very much, everyone, for taking part and listening to us ramble on for a few minutes. And it's I hope you have a great evening. So it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him. Good night.
Good night.